What's happening, people? Dan Lawless here, back with another transfer video for West Ham Fan TV. And we've got some, big players to talk about today. The likes of Andre Gomes, Fabian Delph, Shinji Kagawa, and a possible player who's on the verge of being sold, basically. Got that in the end. But before we get into that, this video is sponsored by OneFootball, the app that lets you get up to date with all the stats, news, and scores. Do check it out in the link down below. Get all your transfer news and bits and pieces sent to you. So let's get into it. Before I do get into it, also check out my channel, my other channel, Dan Damo Jace. Weight loss journey. If you notice the face, it's not as fat as it was. If you look in earlier videos, this face was looking pretty chubby. And I think, if you might notice, it's slimmed down a bit. So you'll find out why on Dan Damo J. So go check it out. Anyway, let's get to the important stuff. Players. It's all midfielders. First of all, Andre Gomes from Barcelona. Just had a very good loan spell at Everton. We've had an £18 million bid rejected, apparently. According to a lot of people, a lot of sources, Sky, whatever, whoever you want to go. But apparently we've had an £80 million bid rejected by Barcelona. They're looking at a close between 25 and 35 million. And it's one of them things, a lot of people would say, yeah, typical Sullivan, low ball. And I'm in two minds, because on one hand, you think, well, negotiation states that you want to try and, put a lower offer in, so you're setting the tone, and then they'll put a higher offer, much higher than you're willing, then you can meet in the middle. Someone explain this to me, right? I know, like, you have to make a formal bid and all of that stuff, but when you're having these conversations, surely, like, you can ring up the club or whoever at the club and say, look, how much do you want for him? We want this much. Well, here's 18 million. Nah, that's no good for us. We want this. Well, how about 20 million? Nah, it's right, 25, deal. Like, what? It's all this, right, I'm going to submit the bid and it's going to get rejected. Like, you know what I mean? Why can't they just send for, listen, if you submit £80 million bid, mate, it's going to get rejected. Don't even waste your time. And it just longs it out. I don't understand why we can't just work like that. Maybe there's a good reason. Let me know in the comments. But here's the problem is when you put in this £18 million bid and it gets rejected, it becomes public, you see Everton suddenly like, oh shit, like West Ham are trying to nick this player from us. And they're going to, wake up, get their act together and think, right, is 30 million, just give us the player, and then we miss out. So yeah, I think it's better just to try and get this deal done as quick as possible before Everton get themselves together, because I understand it's a player that the fans don't want to lose. The club don't want to lose. They want to keep him on a permanent basis. We're apparently willing to pay up to 30 million. He bossed us when he came over to our ground, and it's an improvement on what we've got in the midfield currently. That's the big thing. We can't expect, something like world-class, groundbreaking players. Like, he's a good player. I wouldn't call him, the ultimate next level, top tier, like, competing for top 4 type of player that some fans seem to want. But he's an improvement on what we've got. Like I said, he had a very good season at Everton. It would improve on what we've got. And that's what we need to look at. Every position, when you sign someone, just improve it, increases the squad depth, increases the quality of the starting 11. I think he would do it. 30 million is the limit what I would go to. But we'll see. Another midfielder that we're looking at is Fabian Delph from Manchester City. This one, oh yeah, so Andre Gomes is 25 as well. Let me go back to that. So that's another thing in his favour. He's got age on his side. Fabian Delph does not. He's on. He's about 29 years old, coming up to 30. 2 years left at Man City. England international, and apparently they're looking for around £15 million for him. And both players, so Andre Gomes, they're reporting about 90 grand a week wages. That's also what Fabian Delph is roughly on, 90 grand a week at Man City. We're freeing up 90 grand a week with Carroll on his way out. So I can't see a situation where we get both of these players. I mean, if we could, it'd be great, because squad depth. We've got potentially 2 midfielders leaving, which we'll get into that in a minute. So it'd be ideal, but so we're going to spend 40 million on Delph and Gomes. I think it's one or the other. I think if we can't get Gomes, Delph could be a nice alternative. And as I said before, improves on what we've got already in the midfield. Both are an improvement on Obiang, Fernandes, who we're going to talk about in a bit. Noble, as good as he's been, I think, you know, there are slight improvements. Gomes especially is an improvement. Delph would you say is an improvement as well. So I wouldn't be too sad to get Fabian Delph. I think a lot of players people are in and are him. Again, it's just his age that really ain't on his side. But I think, you know, you can get a solid 3 years out of him. You know, get him on a 2-3 year deal. And again, it proves what we've got, and it just helps us get that little bit of improvement until we do then, you know, either from the academy or they go out and sign like the next level midfielder. Another midfielder, another linked name that we're looking at is Shinji Kagawa from Borussia Dortmund. That's how I say that. Currently on loan at Besiktas, and he's had a good loan spell there. You know, massive player. Played for Manchester United as well. Japanese international. 30 years old. So age ain't on his side either. But, you know, he's a quality player. You know, even recently, you know, I watched him at the World Cup, and he still looks like, you know, a very, very good player. Not the player he once was. If it was 2 years ago, Shinji Kagawa, then I'd be happy. I'd be happy. I'd be over the bloody moon if it was 2 years ago, Shinji Kagawa. Looking for, apparently he's on about 90 grand a week wages as well. One thing though that is a big positive in his favour is that his contract, that from what I've seen, I've looked it up, is coming to an end in June. So his contract expires in June. So this is a chance for us to get him on a free transfer. One thing that really does work in his favour massively, that sort of leaning me towards wanting to sign Kagawa, is that he is, from what I've looked into, I've checked his contract. Now it's the internet, so you never know. But his contract appears to be coming to an end in June, towards the end of June. So we get him on a free transfer. So while he does want 90 grand a week wages, it's a free transfer, so that will not cut into our actual transfer budget. So that's a big positive. I do want to start to move away from these older, big name players that have sort of become journeymen, and you know they sort of, by the time they get to your club, you know they're winding down their career and they're not as hungry. But at the same time, he's just turned 30, so it's not like getting an Evra or a Nasri, as good as Nasri was. He had his injuries, but some of the other players. So yeah, I mean he's not that old, but it's not the sort of age that you're looking at and thinking, right, this is a player that's going to come in hungry and we can build around. But on a free transfer, I would not mind getting Andre Gomes and Kagawa, because then you've got Rice, Noble, Gomes, and Kagawa. And Kagawa, obviously, he's won trophies, he's got the experience, and also he's got the added benefit of being Japan's top player, and it would help sort of raise West Ham's stock in Japan. You know, bring in some more Japanese fans, get us more attention and get us more known in Japan. So I think that's another bonus. You know, so if you get him on a 2-year deal, I think I would definitely go for that. If you're talking about a free transfer, and we can get like a young player like Gomes in and Shinji Kagawa, that's our midfield sorted. I'm happy. And then, like I said, you can rotate, and we can have a proper go at the cups, and yeah, I'm happy with that. So let me know what you guys think. But Fernandes, let's talk about him. Player going out. There's talks that we have agreed terms. We have agreed a fee for Fernandes with Mainz, Bundesliga club Mainz, I think it is. I think that's how you say it, Mainz. For £8 million for Edmilson Fernandes. We paid 5 for him. So he's just had a decent loan spell at Fiorentina in Syria, and it's looking like he's basically on his way out. He's a player that he showed flashes of brilliance, and he showed potential, but he never quite, whether he didn't get enough of a chance, or you know he just didn't quite get that consistency. It didn't work out. I know a lot of fans want to see him given a chance under Pellegrini, and I would like to see that, to be honest. However, I think where we're looking at some of the limitations we've got with our transfer budget, I think 8 million is a good bit of business for Fernandes. I can't see him going on to be that, that next tier first choice midfielder for us. I can't see him to hold down that, and be that player for us. So I think £8 million is a good bit of business. Now, if we can get that as well for Obiang around that price, 10 million, hopefully, then you've got £8 million freed up some wages. I think that's good, and it goes towards our other midfielders, and that's what you want to kind of do. You want to sort of get out some of the players that aren't quite good enough, and then improve on the players that you've already got at your club. And we've got a decent looking midfield there. So yeah, I mean, it's just a shame it hadn't quite worked out for Fernandes, but I'm not too sad to see him go, to be honest. Like I said, if we can get these players that we're talking about, like I said, I think that's my preferred combination is Gomes, Kagawa, and then Obiang and Fernandes out. I might be in the minority with Kagawa. I don't know, but I just think having that, if you take into account budget, and if you take into account sort of quality and things like that, it's the deal that works best for us. Obviously, Gomes and Delph will probably be a better combination. However, getting Gomes for 25 and Delph for 15, I don't see as realistic. I can't see us spending 40 million on those two midfielders. So you get Kagawa in on a free. It's what we love to do. And then you spend the 25 million on Gomes. Happy days. So yeah, and then we need to start to really look at our striking options. So hopefully we make the signings that we really need to make. Do check out all our other videos on the channel. And like I said, if you want to check out why I'm not looking so podgy, check out Dan and Damo and Jace. Thank you guys so much for watching. One thing left to say, come on you Irons.